Verbally Effective with Ina Esco is an interview-style podcast that intersects art, culture, politics, and entertainment with a Memphis focus. Each week, I'm joined by a featured guest with roots in Memphis. Verbally Effective delves into each guest's personal journey to uncover the incredible stories fueling their purpose, the highs and lows of their pursuits, and how through their passion, they are moving the culture forward.
It's Al Pickett, the founder of The Black Print, where I help people win in a brave new world through the financial markets, teaching them how to profit consistently through all the financial markets. And I'm here with Verbally Effective and Ina Esco.
We all around Memphis, Tennessee right here. We in the mix as well with DJ B.B.A, a.k.a. No Genre, a.k.a. Brandon Adams. And we on Verbally Effective Podcast with Miss Ina Esco. Let's go.
Greetings, and welcome to another edition of the Verbally Effective Podcast. We are live in the WYXR studio with some amazing women. Before I jump into the intros, let me tell you guys, this is the podcast that intersects art, culture, politics, entertainment with a Memphis flair. That's right, we're talking all things Memphis. I am your host, your double E, Ina Esco. And check it out, today we're talking all things Indie Memphis. That's right, the 26th annual Indie Film Festival is October 24th through the 29th, a 6-day celebration. We're getting all the deets today from the executive director of Indie Memphis, Kimel Fryer, and also Kayla Myers, who is a programmer over there at Indie Memphis. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'm so glad you ladies are joining me to fill in all the deets about Indie Memphis. I know this is something that everyone looks forward to every year, and we're going to get all into those details. But first, I want to start with you ladies with a little background information. Let's start over here with Kimel. Kimel, what part of Memphis are you originally from?
Okay. Fun fact, my family's actually from Grand Junction, Tennessee.
Gotcha.
So I'm from the outskirts. And my mom and I moved to Cordova, like I think even when the mall was like being built, like
Wolf Chase.
When Wolf Chase was being built.
Really?
Yeah,
I remember
like,
that.
The Target was there, and then everything else, it was just dirt.
Gotcha.
It was just dirt and roads. And so I graduated from Cordova High in 2005. And then went to U of M, got my bachelor's in finance from U of M, went to UT, so I moved out, went to Knoxville, got my law degree in M.B.A, lived in Detroit for a little while, and then I realized really quickly it's a little cold up there. A little cold for my
just
liking.
a tad bit.
Just a smidge, a little dollar. And then I came back home. But honestly, the goal was always to come back home. I love Memphis. I always wanted to go out in the world so that I could bring something back. So
yes.
I'm glad that when I came back, the city welcomed me with open arms. So
yes, Memphis does that. Memphis welcomes you back all the time. We're glad to have you back as well. Kayla, what part of Memphis are you from?
I'm actually from a similar part of Memphis as Kimel. We moved around a bit before when I was a kid because my dad was in the military, but a good amount of my family is from Mississippi. But we moved to Memphis when I was 6 so we could be close enough to my grandparents. And I grew up largely in Cordova, also similar in that area. But Wolf Chase was built when I was growing up.
So you didn't have to come for me like that.
I'm sorry. I think it had just been built when we moved to Cordova, and then I went to Germantown for high school and learned a bit about production, video production, TV production there. That kind of led me on my path to, I got a degree in journalism and digital storytelling at the University of Missouri, and attended my first film festival there and kind of got introduced to the world of film festivals, and met Miriam, who's our artistic director, while I was there. And she said, I work for Indie Memphis. Are you at all interested kind of in programming and learning more about this world? And similar to Kimel, I knew I wanted to come back to Memphis at some point. I knew I wanted to be able to learn things outside of Memphis and come back, and especially like in the artistic community. And so Miriam got me involved in Indie Memphis, and kind of my job and my role has developed from there. And it's been really beautiful to come back here and be plugged in the way that we get to be working for Indie Memphis.
Yes. Now, just listening to you, Kayla, I understand where your love and where everything was rooted for film with you. Kimel,
Yes, ma'am.
because you got a whole finance law background.
Not a half, a whole.
A whole. Where did your love for film come from?
So when I was younger, I mean, I've always been in the creative spaces. When I was younger, I was in theater, I was in choir, I would paint, I'd write poetry, I'd even write stories, like just for fun, right? I was that kind of nerd when I was little. And so I kind of put it away when I went to college. But when I was in Detroit, I think just feeling so isolated from family, and then also coming to the realization that this career that I had been fighting for so long, like I needed more, you know. And when I was talking to my mom about it, she was like, well, you always used to do something in the arts, so, you know, maybe start there. And I tried out different things, and I settled on screenwriting and just kind of getting out some of the frustrations I was dealing with in the writing format, but with film. And I was able to connect with the independent film community in Detroit because they used to shoot Batman movies up there. And so even though they don't even though Warner Brothers doesn't shoot there much anymore, it activated the independent film community. It's very strong.
It's huge. Tubi, all the films are almost from all of Detroit. When I see the credits, I'm like, Detroit is really, you know, like a booming independent film industry.
Yeah, they really have a lot up there, and they have a really great community of people that work with each other to create the art, even though the studios aren't there anymore. And so when I decided to move back to Memphis, I didn't want to lose that. And I saw some flyer, some random place about Indie Memphis. I showed up. I connected with Joseph, who's our managing director. And Joseph was like, yeah, you should talk to this person. I mean, it was like it felt like home. And it was great because, you know, I've been away for so long, and I didn't want to lose that spark. And I come home, and the spark was there, right? It was already here, just kind of waiting for me. So I connected with Indie Memphis because I was making my own films. So I connected that way. And then I actually had a short that was in the film festival, and I got notified that I had a short the same week that I was like interviewing. The same week I was in my final interviews for this job.
Oh, wow.
And so, but I didn't say anything because
you didn't want no conflicts of interest.
Look, you can't just roll up at Indie Memphis with any kind of film. So,
okay, gotcha.
So getting your film in the festival, it's a big deal.
Yes.
And so I waited until I got the job, and I was like, it's okay that, you know. I was like, I don't think the staff knows. And the board of directors were like, no, they don't know, and enjoy it because this ain't happening again.
You got that short on in there.
Oh, yeah, got it in.
What was the short about?
It's called Something's Off. It's a horror comedy about a guy who survives the pandemic but ends up on his first date post-pandemic with a serial killer.
Oh, wow.
So,
a horror comedy.
Yep.
I'm seeing more horror comedies coming out lately.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. The stakes are high with comedy and with horror. A lot of differentiating factors are kind of small, like when you think about it. Like it usually comes down to the film score or the beats of certain things, or, you know, taking certain jokes out and keeping everything the same might turn something straight into a horror film. There was an interview with Jordan Peele that he talked a lot about it. I'll have to send it to you after this.
Send it to me.
But yeah, he was basically, someone was questioning him on how he went from comedy to horror, and he was like, actually a lot of the elements are like very similar. Yeah. If you look at the heart of it. So yeah.
That's why people say you have a strange sense of humor, or like I'm not saying it right, but like it's kind of twisted.
Oh yeah, I always get clocked for a dark sense of humor.
A dark sense of humor. A dark sense of humor. It goes hand in hand.
Yep, it does.
Now, how long have you been with Indie Memphis?
So I've officially made it a year.
Year.
Congrats, I started October 3rd last year. So.
And you are the executive director.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I mean, you're running stuff, and you're a beautiful Black woman.
Thank
you. I think that is amazing. Has this ever happened before for Indie Memphis? A Black woman in this particular role?
No, I'm the first Black executive director of Indie Memphis and the first Black woman.
Come on, represent. Kayla, how long have you been with Indie Memphis? Another beautiful Black woman in leadership.
This will be my 4th festival, so 4-ish years and 2 years full time with Indie Memphis.
Yes. So how does it feel walking through the hallways of Indie Memphis? How's it going?
It's good. You know, we're in this very intense festival planning time.
Yes, it is.
And for me personally, it includes recording some of the pre-recorded virtual Q&As that we do with filmmakers, which is nice to have the virtual aspect of the festival. It's kind of its own concurrent festival with our festival in person, but it gives folks a chance outside of Memphis to experience some of what we'll get to experience here in person. And so for so long, the programming process is emailing and a lot of just talking to people and giving them their passes and things like that. But at this point, with recording virtual Q&As, I'm getting to actually talk to the filmmakers, talk to them about their work, and really ask the questions that I have been wondering in the entire time that we've been doing the programming process. And now we're at a point, you know, where we're getting closer and closer, and it feels hectic, but it also feels really exciting to actually be able to platform these filmmakers, to platform the work that they have spent a long time working on. Some of the films in the festival this year, especially in our hometowner blocks, filmmakers have been working on them for like 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And so to actually be able to be their premiere, to be able to create a space for them to talk about the work that they're doing, it's a really beautiful gift. I feel really grateful to get to do this work and feel like I don't take any of it lightly. We don't take any of the choices we make as a programming team lightly whatsoever, in part because, you know, Kimel knows this as a filmmaker, like filmmaking takes a lot out of you. Filmmaking is expensive. It's a lot to write something and really figure out what ways does it work, what ways does it not work, and especially for different tastes and interests, because what we find interesting at Indie Memphis, someone else at another festival might think is not worth the time or doesn't fit their particular idea of what filmmaking is worth platforming. And we're very open into the different types of styles and approaches that filmmakers have. And so things like production quality, while they're nice, they're not like the guarantee to get into the festival or guarantee to be a part of the festival. We're really looking at like, who are the artists here? What are they trying to say? And how can we kind of help support them in that?
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I know the theme for this year is the future is here. So how does that translate to the criteria or themes that you're looking for what's submitted, what's approved for this festival?
Yeah, I think part of that tagline came from us really wanting to highlight that the filmmakers that we platform here are what we see as the future of film, what we see as ways that we can continue to support the different ways that independent film is fostered and created. And for me, because I program the hometowner section of the festival, that to me is thinking a lot about what the future of film looks like here in Memphis, which I think is so bright and so incredible. Filmmakers have been making work here for a really long time, and I think being able to see how that has really developed, even just over my like 4 years working as a programmer at Indie Memphis, it's really beautiful to see the way that filmmakers here are so creative and independent. I know scrappy gets kind of like a bad rap, I think, but I think filmmakers here kind of feel that way, that they're really figuring out what resources do I have, who do I know, who can I plug in to help me make this work, help me make this film happen. And I think that's part of the future of filmmaking, like really thinking collectively, thinking outside of just like, how much money is this going to make me? But like, what am I trying to say, and who are the people who can make that happen with me?
Yes, I'm hearing you talk about some of the challenges these independent filmmakers are facing. But talk to me, ladies, about what is unique about the Memphis film scene here. What is the unique factor for Memphis?
I mean, Memphis as a whole is unique. So
Sure is.
I feel like the different takes that you see from these films from Memphian filmmakers is like none other in the nation. We have so many films that, I mean, they're like the narrative that they're pushing out, and that's one thing that I think it was brilliant that the programming team came up with. The future is here. The narrative, the films that are coming out of Memphis, you're not going to find anywhere else. You're not going to see the same landscape. You're not going to see the bright colors. You're not going to hear the Memphis accent.
Okay.
You know, and you're not going to get shamed for it here either, because
No,
we
you're
want to
not.
hear it. You know, you're not going to see the Memphis swag. Let's be clear. We
Okay.
have swag here,
Yes,
right?
we do.
It's a certain way that a certain way we walk, it's a certain way we hold our head high. You get to see that, and you especially get to see it with so much of a diverse cast as well, diverse crew. Even some that are, we're not even talking diverse, we're talking majority black, people both in front of the scenes and, behind. So those are things that it's really unique about Memphis, and it's really beautiful to see those ideas come together. And I agree with Kayla. I think the word scrappy gets a bad rep, but I also think that when you are scrappy, and especially in Memphis, you see the creativity. I think we have some of the most creative minds here, and we're finally seeing them get their voice out. We're finally seeing them finding their filming swag, right, and putting it together and being able to, to ship it off to festivals. And we're really grateful to be one of the platforms that can push forward our hometowners and also other films across the nation and the world.
Yes. Would you say that Indie Memphis is a festival that's growing?
Absolutely. We used to, Indie Memphis, give quick history background, right? We started in 1997 in the basement of Rhodes College. And it was a group of college students that had created some films, and they wanted to see it somewhere. So they created their own. And initially it was so small, it was actually under another nonprofit, right? Even though it had the name. Then the name Indie Memphis came along eventually. It was created into its own separate nonprofit. And to go from, I don't even think it was a full day, that initial screening, but this screening that was showing shorts at first in the basement of Rhodes College to now a 6-day festival.
Yes.
Spanned across, Midtown and the medical district. It definitely has grown. Our programming has also grown as well. I mean, we have our festival, which is our signature event, but we're not just a film festival. We are an arts organization. So we have a youth program. We have our Black Creators Forum program, which is starting to do things throughout the year. We have year-round screenings. So outside of the festival, we are providing films to the Memphis community, some of which are free of charge or pay what you can, because we also want to make sure that those films are accessible to anyone, regardless of what your bank account says you have, right?
Yes.
We have our artist development, and so while we have our youth program that has mentorship, and we're helping developing the kids and helping them develop their voices through workshops, and different things, we also have our artist development, which is focused for 18 and up, because so often we'll have these programs for youth, but sometimes you have adults that, like me, who had this whole other career, is like, wait a minute, this isn't all of what I want to do. This isn't all I want to be known for. So how can I, as a grown adult, figure out how to do this without racking up thousands of dollars of debt by going to college, So we provide workshops and trainings for our 18 and up filmmakers who want to figure out how to make a film, who else is in Memphis that I can connect with, because that's also something that can, either make the filmmaking experience really great, or hinder you, is having a solid team behind you.
Yes.
And so we are very diligent in trying to make sure that we continue to keep those things running. So I definitely say that we have grown, and I think it's beautiful to see us growing in the right direction.
Yes. How has technology impacted filmmakers today? Are you guys using AI? Like, what has changed in that aspect?
I think filmmakers are definitely having especially filmmakers if they're a part of the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, are really having to contend with making sure their own like creative work is protected. And I think that's what a good portion of the WGA strike was about. Not all filmmakers are in the WGA, but I think it is something that regardless if you're union or if you're non-union, which a lot of independent filmmakers aren't, they're having to think about, how am I protecting my work? How am I making sure that AI isn't using my work to be able to be trained and learn better? I think for some filmmakers, AI can be a tool. It can be helpful in terms of like, getting out of your own head and seeing writing written in a different way. But I think especially for the WGA and things like that, it's really thinking about making sure that there are protections in place so we're not in a place where the writers will have to strike again, or filmmakers feel like their work is being stolen. Because to me, I'm more interested in art, and I think a lot of filmmakers are more interested in art made by human beings and made by people who've actually have lived experiences and actually have been through some of the things that art inspires them to do. And so I think that's kind of one thing that filmmakers are having to really contend with recently, and I think the strikes really brought that up. I think, of course, there's also the side of like filmmakers having to balance, do I need this super high-tech camera to do what I want to do, or do I need all of these really expensive things? And some of the programming that Kimel was just talking about, like Shoot and Splice, is really meant to dispel or assist them in really figuring out, okay, what are the baseline things you need to be able to make a film that you feel like looks the way you want it to, so you can showcase it either with, at a festival or at a screening or in a theater. Really kind of breaking down some of the language of film, because I think once you get more involved in filmmaking, and I think in any industry there's all of this jargon, and I think a lot of our programming, both with like year-round Shoot and Splice and in the Black Creators Forum, is about like, what are all these words that people are using? How can I know what they're trying to say to me? Is this a way of like decreasing access, or are we trying to make sure we're increasing access to people? So I think, I don't know if Kimel, you have anything else to add regarding technology, but I think those are some of the things that filmmakers are especially having to contend with now.
Well, and also, the good thing about technology, it is so much more readily accessible at a lower cost than it used to be.
Yeah.
So technically, yes, you can get your phone and make a movie. And I will say that the reason why I said technically is because sometimes when you see some films that say that, oh, I used the iPhone, or I used a camera with this, sometimes they're also using like other enhancements to help it as well. But it is more accessible. But I just to kind of touch back on what Kayla was saying, like when it comes to AI, the thing about it is that it's not that AI isn't helpful, right? It's just that as far as being an artist, you definitely want to make sure that your work is protected. Films are hard. Films are hard to make. And so if you have someone who has written a script, or you have someone that's even, an actress, and they've been practicing and going on these, different interviews and different auditions, you just want to make sure that, you are protecting yourself, and you're not giving someone access to utilize your work without you getting credit or getting paid for it, And so that's what the industry is really just contending with. It's not necessarily a condemnation of AI, but it is, okay, we see this development in technology. How can we get ahead of the curve and make sure that we're all protected and we're all transparent in how we're utilizing AI so nobody feels exploited? And I really hope that, any independent filmmakers listening to this, hopefully are thinking about that as well. Don't necessarily be afraid of AI, but, put yourself first and make sure that you're protected.
And when you say protected, how are the independent filmmakers protecting themselves? Is it a matter of getting a lawyer, getting Kimel on the phone, like, girl, what's going on with this AI? How can I protect how are they protecting themselves from AI?
Well, you can always, if you've written a script, you can always copyright. You can always copyright your material, and you can do that through government website but I would say you can also do that through the WGA site as well. They allow you to register your scripts for a lower cost than the government. And there are reasons behind that. So yes, if anybody got questions about it, let me know. But you cannot go wrong with getting a lawyer involved.
Right.
I will say that. And there are entertainment lawyers in town, and there are also some entertainment lawyers that will take work pro bono. So do not be afraid of the lawyers.
They are an ally.
They are an ally, and they want to make sure that, people are protected, and they're trained in that, right?
Yes.
And as far as, that's one thing that we'll see what happens, because one of the strikes has ended. The WGA strike has ended. However, the SAG strike is still ongoing, and so that's something that we'll see what happens with that. Like, how are we protecting actors' faces? Because they make money.
Yeah.
That's how they make money. They make money off of their physical ability, to say these lines, to do these actions, in these scripts. How can we protect them so that their image isn't stolen and it's used against their will and they're not paid for it? That's what they're, trying to contend with now. And I don't have a final thing for that. We'll see what happens with the negotiations. But I am, I'm confident that the alliance and that SAG will find a deal that protects everybody and a deal that will allow the industry to move forward.
Do you think it will be soon? I mean, who would have thought it would have been this long, right?
I don't think anybody could have predicted that.
No.
I'll be honest.
No.
But I do think that it'll be soon. They just made a post, and I'll also say if anyone wants to tune in about the strikes, please feel free to go to the WGA East or WGA West, like their Instagrams or their website, and also go to the SAG-AFTRA official Instagram page or their website. They're literally putting out like daily updates about it if you want to tune in. And they just put out an update that said that they're taking a break, I think today, and then they're reconvening talks with the studios tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
they got to be hard on these actors out here. And just looking at social media and some of them being very transparent about the pay that they have been receiving over the years, comparable to other actors, or, it didn't expose a lot of things in different industries, with these corporations and these leaders getting all these bonuses. It's just exposed everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier this year, and this is all documented. I'm not saying anything that's not already in the news articles, but before the strikes happened, and that's something that's come up quite a bit, is that like some of the top leaders of some of these companies like were getting raises and bonuses and stuff. And so when you are in an industry with a reality like that, right? Like you've got actors posting these residual checks that are coming in for less than $1.
Penny.
And then they see these news articles about these leaders getting multi-million-dollar raises and stuff. It is gonna, it's gonna have to force a real conversation. And so I'm glad that the conversations are occurring, and I'm very hopeful that everybody's gonna find some resolve, hopefully in the next few weeks.
Yes. Well, I am in the studio live for Verbally Effective Podcast with none other than Kimel Fryer and Kayla Myers with Indie Memphis. We're going to have to listen to some of our community partners real quick, but when we come back, we're getting into all the deets on this year's Indie Memphis Film Festival.
Brought to you by Iris Collective, presenting Memphis native and violin phenomenon Randall Gooseby with New York Times best pianist Zhu Wang in concert October 28th at the University of Memphis, a pay-what-you-wish experience. Learn more about these rising stars at iriscollective.org.
The Indie Memphis Film Festival returns to Midtown Memphis to celebrate Film for All from October 24th through the 29th with over 150 feature and short films, including world premieres, restored classics, award season hopefuls, and more. Tickets and passes are available now at indiememphis.org.
Hey, it's WYXR 91.7 FM Memphis, raised by sound. Your double E, Ina Esco, in the building for a live, verbally effective podcast today with the ladies of Indie Memphis. That's right, Kimel Fryer, the executive director over there at Indie Memphis, and Kayla Myers. She is a programmer and over the Black Creators Forum. So, ladies, we have been chit-chatting about all things film. We did hit on some of the details for the upcoming film festival, which is October 24th through the 29th at various locations. Let's just start with the logistics, because we are sitting inside the Crosstown Concourse building, and I understand that this is one of the venues for the films as well. So tell me about the logistics of the event.
Well, you know, Crosstown kicks it off.
Yes, you know how Crosstown do.
Crosstown is the venue for our opening night film, All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, and we're really excited to be back at Crosstown with that film. We're also at the majority of the venues will be within Overton Square. So Playhouse on the square, Circuit Playhouse. We're back at Hattiloo this year. Really excited
shout out
to
to
be back
Hattiloo.
there. And we're also at Studio on the Square. We have 3 screenings. We'll be taking over 3 screens with Malco Studio on the Square as well. So.
Yes, wow. So that's the logistics down pat. Let's talk about some of the type of films that you all are featuring this year, like documentaries, shorts. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we have a ride away. So many people, if you have any kind of taste, there's a lot available. We have, as you mentioned, shorts, which is a lot of what I oversee in the festival. So we'll have hometowner shorts, and then also shorts from filmmakers outside of Memphis screening in person. A lot of those screenings will actually be at Hattiloo. And then we also have quite a few features. Some of them are independent features, some of them are studio films we're really excited to be able to bring to Memphis, such as May December, which is a film by Todd Haynes that stars Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman. Okay. Miriam says it's like some of the best performances of the year.
I like Natalie Portman.
Me too.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we have a few tributes that I'm really excited. We're doing a tribute to Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Okay.
And so we're playing 3 of his films, including White Chicks, which is so fun to say.
Yes.
White
Classic.
Chicks. Yes.
She said fun to say.
It is. I was so much fun to tell people we're playing White Chicks. And I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
And Scary Movie.
And Scary Movie.
Yes.
And then we're also screening quite a few hometowner features that are world premieres, including a documentary called I Am, that's about how Black women live with anxiety, how they cope, and kind of how they thrive.
Yeah.
That's a film by Jessica Chaney that's produced and edited by Amanda Willoughby that I'm really excited for us to get to work.
Yeah. I just worked with her at my podcast festival. She's amazing.
She's wonderful.
Hey, Amanda.
Shout out to Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Yes.
And so that's one film that we're really honored to world premiere. That'll be on Wednesday. And then we also it's also another hometowner feature documentary called Juvenile about the experiences of young people kind of experiencing the juvenile system and kind of how they also, live and thrive post that experience. And I've heard from the filmmakers that a good amount of the participants in that film will actually be here in person. So it'll be really beautiful to hear from them. And then, like I said, we have some other kind of we'll also have, Kimel mentioned All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, which Raven, who's the director of that film, was a 2019 Black Creators Forum screenwriting resident here in Memphis, and she spent time here working on the script for that film.
Who was the judge?
Barry Jenkins was the judge that year.
Barry Jenkins.
And we're really honored to be able to bring Raven back to Memphis, and she'll also be having a conversation with Kimel Fryer, who's her cinematographer, who's worked with her on her shorts, and then also this feature. They'll have a conversation in person, and then we'll also have the production designer from May December also here to talk about his work. He's worked on so many other shows like The Bear, many things that if you just looked at his resume, you'd be like, wow, this man is talented.
And also May December is a film, it's going to be released on Netflix later this year, but we get to screen it first.
May December.
Yep. Dream Scenario is another Another film that I'm excited to see because Nicolas Cage stars in it.
Come on,
and
Nicolas Cage.
It's a wild ride. So I'm excited to see that as well. But we just have so many films. There's definitely something for everybody. I would say documentaries that I'm really excited about, in addition to I Am, Black Barbie.
Okay, Black Barbie.
Yeah, well, we're screening a documentary that goes behind the complicated history of introducing
Yes.
Black Barbie, you know, and what that all that all encompasses. Also, The Space Race, which is a documentary about Black astronauts, engineers, just kind of showing them in a way that a lot of people haven't seen them before, and also really highlighting some of their names because a lot of them are unsung heroes. So yeah.
Because only a couple astronauts come to mind, and they're not Black. Oh, wow. Much needed.
And I'll also highlight our tribute to hip hop. It's the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
Oh, we got some of that.
And
Belly.
We're playing Belly
Oh,
and
that's
Friday.
a classic.
And Friday.
Oh, my.
Friday.
Yes.
Friday's
Okay.
playing on Friday, so
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, those two films, because we thought they, you know, as much as they're important to hip hop, they're also important to independent film. And I really want Hype Williams to direct another film, but that may never happen.
I know.
It's been a long
Is he
time.
coming? Hype? You coming, Hype?
If he's listening, please come.
Come on.
Come on, Hype. Come on through. Now, you know, other than the films, the documentaries, the short films, the studio films, there's more. There's live music, I hear. There are panels. There are parties. Tell me about some of that action.
Yeah, I mentioned two of the panels that we're having. We're having that conversation with Raven and Jomo, and then we'll have that conversation with Sam. And then we have a couple panels that we haven't announced yet that'll also be focused around craft roles in film. We really want to try and, especially because we've been thinking about the festival with the strike in mind, and so really trying to center the crafts people in film. So we have a couple conversations that we'll announce fairly soon here that are centered around other aspects of that. And then we will have live music. We're really excited to have that aspect of the festival. It's been a part of the festival for, I think, as long as it has existed, at least in this form, because music is integral to Indie Memphis is integral to Memphis. We have
Very integral to Memphis.
a sounds category in the festival because of that. That's focused on like music films, music documentaries, and so that'll be a part of certain screenings. We'll have usually Memphis-based musicians play the 20 or so minutes as people come into the theater, and really kind of set the mood for each screening. And I love that part of it. It's so fun to see who is performing before each screening. That's usually some musicians, some DJs, things like that.
Well,
And then
select screenings.
Select screenings, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we are having some parties as well. So.
Yes, the parties. Where are the parties? How that work? Come on.
Well, opening night, we are having a VIP party, so you gotta get a VIP pass.
I think that's the party I'm coming to.
That's the one you coming
I
to.
think so. Opening night.
We also have things throughout the week. I mean, we've got karaoke. We've got a laid back hangout at Hampline Brewery, and I feel like we're doing a few other things.
Yeah, there'll be another sort of reception party on Sunday.
Yep.
And then those who are part of the Black Creators Forum who've registered to be a part of the symposium will have their own gathering. But I think you hit all of the parties.
You ladies are going to be busy.
Very.
Yes.
That week is stacked up.
Very, very. And I actually forgot to mention one other documentary that I'm really excited about. The Spirit of Memphis.
Okay.
It highlights Claiborne Temple,
Oh,
and the history behind
wow,
Claiborne
yes.
Temple. And the executive director of NASA helped
was
produce
just
it.
here last week. Yes.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
she's in it.
she is in it.
That's going to be amazing.
And I will say, you know, like there's so many films that we're really excited about. So I really hope that you know, people come out, and if you have any questions and you know what kind of genres you guys, you know, usually tend to lean towards, if I have time, I'll give some suggestions. So yeah,
We
it's
didn't
a
even
lot.
talk about any of there's quite a few horror films that we're playing too. We're kind of we're kind of near Halloween.
Well, one had a very short stint in Memphis last year, Queen Rising.
With Henry Reeves.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Yep. So we are screening Queen Rising. So
Okay.
if you didn't get a chance to see it last year, or even if you did and you liked it, come on out. We're also screening The Reaper Man.
The Reaper Man is another hometowner feature by Jerron Lockwood. Then we're also screening. We have a member of the jury who's helping us program some of the films that were a part of the 80s and 90s horror series that the Criterion Collection did. So we're playing a couple Dario Argento horror films. So the horror fans out there listening will be really excited to see some of those.
Yeah.
I think that's most of there's probably some other horror things that we're forgetting to mention. There's a Hometowner After Dark block, which I think is really incredible, and those shorts are all very different. But that's a block that always has a really strong audience at the festival. So highly encourage folks to come out to that too.
And to our Hometowner doc shorts. So I know that I think it was last year, there was a lot of there's a lot of coverage about one of the shorts in there called Slice. And so Slice is finished. We're screening Slice. We're really excited about it.
Slice.
Made by Zaire. And then we're also screening another short of hers called Edo.
Okay.
And Edo was made by a grant, if I recall.
Yeah. Edo is Zaire is a really wonderful, amazing filmmaker, and she does have 2 shorts in the festival, as Kimel just mentioned. One of those is Slice, which is about the slicing, the way that Memphis, particularly these Memphis black men have developed this style of diving
in the pool.
Pool that I'm sure many folks have seen videos of, and it's really have. It's a skill. There's a certain way you put your body in the pool. I don't think I could do it the way that they do it.
Right, it looks like they slam and they hitting that water hard.
Right. They are, and so that's what Slice is about. And then Edo is a film that was supported by our women's grant that Zaire won. That is about the Edo comes from ghetto, and just kind of the thing that Zaire has been saying a lot with this film is just that ghetto girls deserve good things, and that is really what Slice Edo is all about, and it's so beautiful and so colorful, and I encourage you to follow Zaire on Instagram. It'll pop up if you Google her, and you can see some of the images that she's created for this. But those are 2 shorts that are in our Hometowner narrative short and Hometowner documentary short blocks that are both just, Edo is so incredible. I think about it every day. It's so good.
Sounds like some good quality storytelling going on in this film festival. The future is here, right? And it sounds like that you ladies have actually watched everything that we're about to watch.
I've watched a good amount of it. Yes, absolutely.
She has. I'm trying to catch up.
You trying to catch up?
Well, because last year was my first time going to the film festival as executive director. I've always been able to go as a participant or as a filmmaker that has a short in there. Oh, well, no, because last year was my first year with that. And so it was actually, I was a little nervous. I wasn't even sure if I was going to see my own short.
Oh, wow.
You had to. You had been at that Q&A. I would have gone on to you.
I mean, oh my gosh, it would have been crazy, but yeah. So I didn't think about the fact that I was gonna be ridiculously busy, and so I got to see my short block, and my short was in the Hometowner After Dark, and then I got to see Saint Omer. Those are only 2 films.
So you used to love being a participant.
Yeah, I had to look. They had to kick me out of the BCF virtual chats last year. They're like, Kimel, we need you to do some work.
Wow.
I'm like, but I want to listen. They're like, we'll record it. It's fine. But that's amazing. But that's the thing. I'm catching up on the stuff now because I already know during the festival I'm gonna be running around crazy. But it's such good programming, and that's one thing that I really hope anyone listening really takes from it. We have really strong, really quality storytelling, visual storytelling in these films. So whether you're watching a film from an experienced director or you're watching a film from someone who's debuting their very first directorial debut. Like, these are going to be strong quality projects. So be prepared for that. Come ready and, come watch some great films.
Come watch some great film. Indie Memphis. How can everyone access tickets?
So we have our website, indiememphis.org, INDIE Memphis.org. And you can get select tickets. So if you don't want to get a pass, you can get specific tickets for certain screenings. My rule of thumb, though, if I usually want to see at least 3 or 4 films, I just go ahead and get a pass because it's more cost effective. To be honest, it's more cost effective, and you get so much with being a pass holder. Like, in addition, we didn't even bring this up with the screenings, but in addition to having the panels and the live music, we also have like a hospitality space. So all pass holders can access the hospitality spaces that we are having. One in the Playhouse Cafe, and then the other one on the rooftop of the Playhouse.
La la.
And so, with your passes, you get to see a select number of films. It depends on the level of passes that you get, but you also get access to a lot of these different spaces. There are some of the parties that we have are pass holder parties, so you get access to that. You get the VIP pass. You not only get that and you get access to the VIP party, but you also get, free drinks, the whole week. So,
we like free drinks.
Like
free drinks.
It's not a bad thing to do. You got to pace yourself, but yeah, you get these VIP experiences that you don't get if you just get one ticket. So so go to the website. We have a few sites that are connected to it that will show you, that give you a breakdown of what you get with each pass. We also have a How to Fest page, because you've never come to a film festival, it can feel a little daunting. Like, what do I expect? Yeah. But one thing that I will say, and I will hang my hat on this about Indie Memphis, we really do try to think. We try to be very intentional about our audiences, not just our audiences that are used to us, but also, people who maybe have never visited a film festival before, but just want to do something different. So we have a How to Fest page that explains a lot of things that are kind of specific to the film festival that you might have questions on. And also, if anyone has any other questions or if you have any issues with the website or anything, please feel free to reach out. I promise you, all of us are around our emails around the clock, and we're friendly. We don't bite.
You ladies are very friendly. I have really been enjoying you here today on Verbally Effective Podcast. Do you ladies frequent other film festivals around the country and the world? And bring some of that back to Indie Memphis?
We took Miami early.
We did.
Oh, Miami.
We went to the American Black Film Festival in Miami in June. We try to go to as many as possible, because it's just a way to see how other people do things. What ways can we kind of learn from folks, but also meet filmmakers. And I think that has been really vital, especially us going into the ABFF together was really a chance. Like, Kimel was able to kind of do her magic in terms of connecting with people, and then I was able to also connect with filmmakers, but watch films. And so that's really, we try to as much as possible. I haven't been out of the country yet for a film festival, but Miriam, our artistic director, has been to a few internationally. She's been to Cannes in France, and has been able to kind of bring back some of that knowledge. Sometimes it's like things we should do, sometimes it's things we should not do, ways that we can learn from mistakes that people have made at other film festivals, especially in that piece that Kimel is talking about in terms of accessibility and how to fest and things that, because getting around a film festival, not every film festival is as accessible as ours is. We're in a lot of the same locations that are in a really close space, and so going to other festivals, seeing how they arrange themselves is really helpful for us to make our festival as strong and as good an experience as possible. And we also went to Sundance earlier this year,
and we actually have quite a few films that premiered at Sundance. So in addition to All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, Mami Wata is a film that we specifically saw at Sundance, and actually even throughout the year, Kayla and Miriam have been able to bring back some films that premiered at Sundance. And for anyone who is unfamiliar with Sundance, there's like 5 top film festivals in the world. Sundance is one of them, and it's located in the U.S. in Park City, Utah. And so we were able to go there and bring some of these films back in one of the top film festivals and bring them back to Memphis.
Amazing.
So
Wow. Now, Kimel, this question is for you as the executive director over there at Indie Memphis. How will you measure the success of the festival under your leadership? What goals are you putting in place?
I measure success by really looking. That's a difficult question because naturally I'm a numbers person, right? So naturally I want to see, okay, how many people came in, how much ticket sales did we generate? But it goes deeper than that. It really kind of comes down to like when you're talking to patrons, how are they talking about their experiences? How are they talking about our organization when they leave? Is it in a highlight? Is it in a positive light, or is it something not so great, something that we need to work on. And so I've learned that that's one thing that, I knew before, but definitely in this position in a nonprofit, you have to measure success by more than just numbers.
Yes.
You got to look at
The
a holistic,
intangible things.
Yeah, you got to look at a holistic, a holistic approach. Like for instance, one of our things is our micro cinema. It's pay what you can. And so as you can imagine, it's not a moneymaker, right? But one thing that we know, like even some of these films that we're putting out there, whether it's micro cinema, whether it's films in the festival, a lot of our films are pushing people out of their comfort zone. They're making people think about things that maybe they hadn't before. And how do people respond to that? And a lot of what we've seen this year, especially, and I would say maybe even last year and years prior, but definitely this year, is people being glad that they came, whether they donated or not. People coming to us, stopping us, and being like, I'm so glad that you're doing this. This is amazing. I love this film. Or asking us, what's this filmmaker's name? Because they want to follow them and they want to follow that filmmaker on their journey. So that's a hard question because we have to look at all of those things. So.
Yes. Wow. Amazing. Ladies, thank you so much. Any final words that you want to share with the Verbally Effective audience right here on WYXR about the Indie Film Festival, about maybe there's someone out there that wants to create a film, don't know about the resources that you all provide? Any final words?
Well, I would say first, I hope that we get to see many of you who are listening at the festival. We're excited and really excited to hopefully welcome as many people as possible and welcome filmmakers from out of town and welcome our hometowner filmmakers into these spaces to present their work. And I think, as Kimel mentioned earlier, we aren't just a film festival. There's work that we do year-round. She mentioned micro cinema, which I program year-round. And then we also have our Shoot and Splice program, which is another program that's meant for filmmakers. Maybe they went through our youth program, or maybe they haven't been through any of our programming, but it's to introduce some of these concepts of filmmaking, from like cinematography to intimacy coordination to how do you work with actors. We have a lot of those programming throughout the year. And we also have grants that we also have throughout the year for filmmakers to apply to make largely shorts, but some of those shorts have become features. I Am was an indie grant project that started as a short, and then they felt like they had so much to work with, they expanded it to a feature. But yeah, and we're always here. Our emails are on the website. We're here for any, especially after the festival. Please reach out to us, and we're happy to welcome folks into our office and just talk through any of the questions that you have, any of the people that we can connect you with. Like, I'm happy to talk with as many people as possible because I want more people, and especially Black filmmakers and other filmmakers of color, to really have the access to these things to make the art that they want to make. So,
Gotcha.
I just want to leave with, I'm so happy to be here. This
Yes,
is so great.
I'm so happy you ladies are here.
And, I'm really excited about this festival. I'm excited to have the opportunity to tell more people about what we're doing because we do such great work. And so thank you for allowing us the opportunity to get more word out about us and this great program that we're doing. And I also hope, I echo what Kayla said, you know, I really hope that the people listening are intrigued and want to tune in. I promise you, we have several films for everybody.
Yeah.
Several great quality films for everybody.
It sounds very diverse from what we've been discussing today.
Yes, and so I'm really excited to see you guys' faces and you know, really excited to kick off the festival. 14 days.
Yes, and 14 days. Y'all ready?
Kayla rolled her eyes at me, y'all. She rolled her eyes so hard.
Oh my! You can tell when people work together and they have a good relationship, a good working relationship. That would be these two ladies over here with Indie Memphis. I want to thank you ladies so much for joining me today on the Verbally Effective Podcast. I know Indie Memphis Film Festival will definitely be a huge success this year.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you all for sharing so much information about it. You guys make sure you go and get your tickets. The website is indiememphis.org. Get them today. I want to thank Kimel Fryer for joining me today, the executive director over there at Indie Memphis, and Kayla Myers, programmer over there at Indie Memphis. And thank you all for tuning in yet again to another spectacular edition of the Verbally Effective Podcast.